If you've been doing hair for years now and you see new stylists fresh out of school charging way more than you, or if you're already booked solid for months but feel guilty about raising your prices, this video is going to change everything for you. Because what's going through your head every time you think about that price increase? You get emotional, and so does almost every stylist that I've ever coached. They either think one of two things. They either think, I deserve to charge more because of my experience, or they think, I could never charge that much, I'd feel so greedy. But pricing isn't about what you deserve or how you feel. It's about supply and demand. It's math. It's basic economics. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to know if you're ready for a price increase, how much to raise them, and how to roll it all out without the guilt, fear, or the drama. Let's get into it. First, we need to separate two completely different conversations: emotional discounting and price increases. Emotional discounting is what happens in the moment at checkout. It's when you don't include services or add-ons that you actually did, don't charge full price because you feel bad, don't charge for extra bowls of color, length, or density, or give last-minute discounts because the client seems stressed about money. That's emotional discounting, and it's killing your revenue. Price increases are different. They're strategic, planned adjustments to your service menu based on market demand. Emotional discounting needs to be addressed before price increases because let's say at the end of this video, you learn that you have earned a 20% price increase. Announcing that to your clients and implementing it will be nearly impossible if they aren't even paying what they're supposed to be paying currently. And before you can even think about raising your prices, you need to be clear on your pricing structure in the first place. So before we talk about increasing your prices, let's make sure that you actually have a clear pricing structure. There are a lot of different ways to price your services behind the chair. You can do a la carte pricing, which is pricing each service separately. You can do session-based pricing, which is charging for time blocks with specific service options falling into those blocks. You can do hourly pricing. There's a lot of other ways to do it, but those are the three most common. And the truth is, I honestly don't think that there's a right or a wrong way to price. I've been coaching hundreds of stylists for years now, and I think all of these work and they have pros and cons. But the bottom line is you do need to decide what you're doing and why you're doing it, and then you need to stick with it. Because if your pricing is confusing to you, it's definitely confusing to your clients, and moving, growing, and scaling from a place of uncertainty is nearly impossible. So take some time to audit your pricing structure. Make sure it makes sense, make sure you can explain it clearly, and make sure that it's actually covering your costs and paying you what you need to make. Once that's locked in, then we can talk about truly earning a price increase. All right, now let's talk about my approach to price increases, which is zero emotions and all data. The reason that I refuse to let emotions be part of this conversation is because it can go wrong in both directions. Similar to what I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we have example one, the stylist that thinks I deserve this. You've been doing hair for decades, you've paid your dues. You see new stylists a few years out of school charging way more than you, and you think, I deserve to charge that. I have more experience. I've invested in all of this education. And maybe that's true, but if you're not booked out, if you're not getting new client requests, and if people can get in with you next week, the market is telling you something different. And then we have the opposite end of the spectrum, the example of the stylist who feels greedy. You're already charging prices that feel very high to you. Maybe you've hit a point where you yourself would never pay that much for hair. Old money stories start to come up and you feel bad or greedy or gross. But if you're booked 12 plus weeks out, if you're getting dozens of new guest requests every month with nowhere to put them, the market is loudly telling you that you are underpriced for your perceived value. Bottom line is your feelings can't set your prices. Supply and demand must. And that's why I coach to price increases like a math equation. I ask 4 questions, and based on your answers, you either are not due for an increase yet, you need to focus on marketing and increasing demand, or you've earned a price increase anywhere from 10 to 30%. Those are my parameters, and I feel very comfortable and confident coaching to them because they're based on data, not emotions. So let's go through those 4 questions together. Grab a pen because you're going to want to answer these for yourself. Okay, question number 1 is, how long ago was your last price increase? If it's been less than 6 months, I think you should pause and wait. chances are you have not seen your last increase take full effect. Clients don't typically jump ship the moment you announce a price increase. I like to wait about 6 months to get a clear picture of your new supply and demand. After 6 months, it's fair game. The longer you go beyond that, the more due you become based on inflation alone. In an ideal world, I'd love for stylists to earn increases every 1 to 2 years. That feels like a healthy growth pattern to me. Okay, so we're gonna score for question 1. If your last price increase was less than 6 months ago, stop here and return to this exercise at the 6-month mark. If it's been 6 to 12 months, I want you to give yourself 10 points. And if it's been over a year, I want you to give yourself 15 points. Okay, question number 2 is, if a brand new target market client found you today, how long would it take for you to get them in? Working your typical schedule, not squeezing them in, but working your typical schedule that they would see when booking online. This is all about your availability and demand. If you can get them in super quickly, like within a week, you have plenty supply of time. That's not necessarily calling for a price increase, and you should be focusing on your marketing efforts and filling those current gaps in your books with new or existing clients. If it's been 2 to 3 weeks, this is kind of the sweet spot in my opinion. It gives you enough security to stay full week over week, but if a new client finds you, they're typically okay with waiting that long. 4 to 6 weeks is obviously starting to push people's patience, but it's still not awful. But here's what I find. Once a new client can't get in with you for 6+ weeks, they typically won't wait that long. They'll move on to someone else. And if you're booked solid 12+ weeks out, that is loudly obvious that it's time to raise your prices because money is being left on the table. Now, here's what some people do wrong here. They just go and close their books and stop accepting new clients. And that is just cutting your growth off for the sake of ego or fear or something else. So please don't do that. Okay, let's go ahead and score for question number 2. If you're 1 to 4 weeks booked out for a dream target market client, not just a random haircut, whatever your dream target market is working within your schedule. If it's 1 to 4 weeks, I want you to add 5 points. If it's 4 to 6 weeks, I want you to add 10 points. And if it's 7+ weeks, I want you to add 15 points. Question number 3 is, how many new guest requests do you get per month? This is a huge indicator of demand. 1 to 4 requests is fairly low. If that's where you're at, I would encourage you ramping up your marketing efforts before thinking about raising your prices. If you're at 5 to 10 requests, this is very healthy and sustainable, and it's a very good place to be. And if you're at 10+ requests, this is where I start to notice that your prices are probably a bit low for your market if you have that much interest. There are some members inside of Stylist Soul Tribe who specialize and get like 40+ new guest requests per month. And that to me is very telling that they have not yet found the number or the amount of demand on their time is coming close to the supply of time that they have. So let's go ahead and score for question number 3. If you have less than 4 requests per month, I want you to add 3 points. If you have 5 to 10 requests per month, I want you to add 10 points. If you have 11 to 15 requests per month, I want you to add 15 points. And if you have over 15 requests per month, I want you to add 20 points. Okay, question number 4 is, are you changing your schedule at all with this increase? This is why schedule and clientele come before pricing in the cycle of success. If you're changing your schedule, say going from working 20 hours a week down to 15, that is a 25% cut in your hours. You need to account for that in your price increase so that you don't lose any money. Bonus points if your demand is high enough to earn a higher increase so that you can truly work less and make more. Okay, scoring for this final question, if you are planning to add more hours to your schedule, adding more behind the chair hours, you would add 3 points. If you are planning to work the same schedule and not change it at all, you're gonna add 10 points. And if you are planning to work less hours, cut your behind the chair schedule, then you're gonna add 15 points. Okay, now we're gonna total up your points, and here is what your score means. If you got 21 to 35 points, I would not recommend a price increase right now. Either you're not booked out enough, you're not getting enough new client requests, or you're planning to add hours to your schedule that wouldn't warrant an increase quite yet. Instead, I would focus on your marketing and getting new eyes on your business. If you've got 36 to 44 points, you're doing great, and I would recommend a 10% price increase. If you got 45 to 54 points, you are ready for a 20% price increase. And if you got 55 to 65 points, then you are killing it and you are more than ready for a 30% price increase. Okay, so we've done the math. We know if you're due for a price increase, and if so, how much. Now what? I don't like to waste time, so typically once someone knows that they're due for a 10, 20, or 30% increase, I simply look at the calendar. What's coming up next, the 1st or the 15th? That's your answer for when you're going to announce your increase. You have about 2 weeks to prep, which is plenty. Okay, so step 1 is we're gonna announce your price increase via email and not publicly. So let's say you decide that you're announcing on March 1st. Over the years, this has looked different for me personally. When I first started earning price increases, I made it a big thing. I posted about it publicly. I made a station talker. I took notes on which clients I'd talk to about it. And then after earning many price increases in my business and continuing to coach other stylists through them, I learned that that's a bit overkill. My opinion is do not post about price increases publicly on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, etc. This is a conversation between you and your existing clientele, and it's not something that potential new clients need to be seeing. So I announce on March 1st and I send out an email with language like, as of April 1st, I will be implementing a price increase. Not all services will be affected, but you may notice a difference at your next appointment. If you have any questions at all or want a price quote before your next appointment, please feel free to respond to this email. Thank you so much for all the love and support over the years. You can put a link to your online menu if you want with your updated pricing, but don't say that you're announcing by 10%, 20%, 30%, because what I've learned to coach to is that you do not have to overly explain yourself. Depending on how you typically communicate with your clients, just announce your increase. Another reason that I personally prefer email is because you can see who has opened the email on your end, and that's really nice to just have a gauge of who has seen the announcement and who hasn't. And then step 2 is you can mention it during checkout. From March 1st to April 1st, while I'm checking clients out and pre-booking them, especially the ones that I know are more price conscious, I will say, did you see my email about my price increase? Would you like a quote for your next visit? You will be amazed how many people congratulate you, don't bat an eye, and don't think it's a big deal at all. And then step 3 is you're gonna implement the new pricing, for this example, starting on April 1st. When April 1st comes around, you change all of your prices on your online booking and your website, and you start charging the new prices. A lot of people start having all the what if questions at this stage, like what if someone freaks out? So let's say it's April 3rd, you ring out your client, you tell them the price, and they say, whoa, that's higher than last time, or that's higher than I was expecting. You would simply say, oh, you must not have seen my email announcing my price increase that went into effect April 1st. I'm happy to honor the old price for this visit, but next time it will be whatever the new price is. That's pretty much it. Chances are that's not even going to happen, but I know a lot of people get really worried and just want to plan for the worst case scenario. Okay, so here's what I want you to remember. Price increases aren't about what you deserve. They're not about how you feel. They're not about guilt or worthiness or comparing yourself to other stylists. They are simply about supply and demand. If you are booked solid, if you're getting tons of new client requests, if people can't get in with you for months, the market is telling you that it's time to raise your prices. And if you're not there yet, that is totally okay. Focus on marketing, build your demand, and then come back to this exercise in a few months. But whatever you do, don't let emotions make this decision for you. Let the data speak. You can do this, and if you need support, DM me SST on Instagram. Inside of Stylist Soul Tribe, I love coaching stylists through price increases. It's one of my favorite things to do because I see the transformation that it creates, not just in your bank account, but in your confidence and how you show up in your business. You've got this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.